Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone, and you're watching the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. 1 hour of commercial-free podcasting starts now. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone, and you're watching.
Did not mean to play that twice. Off to a rough start for the duo, John. But welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. Week 7 in the books, aside from Monday Night Football tonight between the Bears and the Patriots. If you're looking for a preview of tonight's game, we included some stuff about that game in our last episode on Wednesday. So check that out after this. Obviously, as you can see, T-Gods and Q are not here today. Both of them are out. Q's at the Sixers game. And both of them will be back Wednesday when we're back.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed. We'll be fully squatted up. But today, me and Matt, we're going to focus on all of the games from Week 7 that have been played, starting with some calm or chaos, talking about some struggling players, and then trust or bust, talking about some guys who had some big-time games. And we'll wrap up with some waiver targets and a buy low, sell high candidate at the end. And as I mentioned, no Q, so no trivia, but he said he's going to have a bunch of trivia on Wednesday, so make sure you're back for that. But let's get into today. Let's talk about Week 7 with calm or chaos, starting at the quarterback position. Jared Goff, 1.52 points for Jared Goff this week. 21 of 26 for 228 yards. Doesn't sound that bad, but no touchdowns, 2 picks, and 2 fumbles lost. Calm or chaos here for people that were trusting Goff?
Chaos. Coming off the bye, you were hoping he could get something going. Didn't look like it. That game that he had before the bye was also rough. This offense just kind of looks a little rough in general. We saw Jamal Williams struggle. They're dealing with a bunch of injuries. So until I see that team fully back healthy and Goff getting all his weapons, I am not trusting him.
Yeah, that's his 4th game now. I think with fewer than 20 points. He's got 2 big games, and then the rest have been relatively mid, and the last 2 have been brutal. So hoping for better days ahead for Jared Goff. Maybe keep him on your bench, but as of right now, he is not trustworthy as your starting quarterback.
No way, Jose.
Next one here, Lamar Jackson, 10.7 points, 9 passes completed on only 16 attempts. 120 yards. He did also have 10 carries, 59 yards on the ground. Always gives him a decent floor. But now this is his 4th straight game with fewer than 18.1 points. Calm or chaos here for Lamar.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, but I just can't say chaos about Lamar.
I can't either.
The upside's way too high. I mean, we've seen him go for 40 any given week, but it definitely isn't looking too good for him right now. It's frustrating.
Yeah, it's really tough. As a Lamar owner, like, you want to think about, like, do I move him? Do I not move him? Like, I think you just got to hold tight. I'll talk a little bit more about Lamar later in this episode, but for now, I think you just got to rock out with Lamar. Like, it's tough, but he's got to bounce back. I'm still staying calm. Kind of stinks, but I'm staying calm. Quarterback position's so shallow this year, you're not going to find anything better.
Yeah, you know,
with as much upside as he has, like we saw in the first 3 weeks. So, Tom Brady next on the list, 11.7 points, 32 of 49 for 290 yards, but 0 touchdowns. His 5th game this season with 16 or fewer points. Calm or chaos for Brady?
Chaos.
Like
you said, he has 2 games with 20 or more points. That's just very not Tom Brady-esque. And the offense is good, so I just have no idea what is going on with Brady this year.
Yeah, I don't either, man. It makes no sense to me. Tom Brady, like, he was been rock solid the last few years. I know, like, a while back, he was kind of like a mid-level fantasy quarterback, but the last few, he's been elite, and for him to disappear like this kind of stinks. Hopefully,
maybe
better
Father Time catches up to him.
Yeah, or he's got some other stuff going on that he's got to worry about. So.
He's got a bunch of shit going on.
Yeah. So Tom Brady, I'm leaning chaos. Let's move on to running backs. Sticking with the Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette, 4.6 points, 8 carries for 19 yards, and only 2 catches on 3 targets for 7 yards.
That's all right. 3 games prior to that, he had 18 or more points. He's going to be featured in this offense. I'm not worried about Fournette moving forward.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Fournette either. I think I'm staying calm as well.
It was just one of those games.
Yeah, I think you have to stay calm.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you are a Fournette owner and you don't have Rachaad White, I would try and go get him just in case. You never know what's going to happen. And I think Rachaad White has looked good with the limited snaps he's gotten. So someone I would want if I have Fournette, but I'm still staying calm in general.
Agreed.
All right, let's do some hold or fold with running backs. There are a lot of bad performances from running backs that have continued to struggle. Are we holding any of these guys? Starting with James Robinson. This man had 0 points, a big old donut. Only played 17% of the snaps. He may be dealing with some knee soreness, but 0 carries, 1 target. And now this is his 4th straight game, fewer than 7 points. Holding or folding?
I feel like he got to hold.
Yeah. I do too.
Like you said, he might not be fully healthy right now. We saw him when he was looking good. He looked good. So, I mean, I think he can eventually get back to that if he starts getting the touches that he was in the beginning of the season. But ETN looks like he's just eating away at it right now.
Yeah, ETN looks like he's got a grip on this backfield right now. James Robinson, I think you have to hold in general in case ETN goes down with an injury. Like, he's worth being rostered in every single league. But at the end of the day, he's not touching your starting lineup anytime soon. So, Tough one for Robinson. A.J. Dillon, 1.5 points. His snap share has kind of been up and down, going down all the way near like 30%, but going all the way up towards like 58% throughout the season. But he now has fewer than 9.5 points in his last 6 games. Hold or fold?
You have to hold him just in case Aaron Jones goes down. You never know what could happen, but definitely not starting him for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, he's been on buy low for a couple of weeks, and I don't know if I'm buying low anymore, man. It's rough.
Nope.
Unless I'm Aaron Jones owner and I can just get him for insurance, but even then, it's not pretty.
Yeah,
so.
It's not. What happened, AJ?
Yeah. Chase Edmonds, 1.7 points. Snap share has been dwindling down, and now this is 4th game with fewer than 6 points.
This is someone I could fold on.
Yeah.
Looks like this is Raheem Mostert's backfield. Chase Edmonds, sorry. You could have been the Cinderella running back this year, but you lost your shot, buddy.
Yeah. I'm in the same boat. I am so folding on Chase Edmonds. Like, if I have him in a league, I'm not afraid to drop him. There's a chance that Mostert could get injured and Edmonds could take over this backfield. But even when he was playing, like, he was so touchdown dependent. Like, he was not that good. So, Edmonds, if you have to drop him, you can drop him. I would not be mad about it at all.
Yeah, wouldn't call you crazy.
Do it up. J.D. McKissick, 0.4 points. His snap share dropped all the way down to 16% this week, the lowest of the season. He now has 5 of 7 games with fewer than 9 points. Hold or fold?
I feel like it's safe to fold on McKissick. Looks like Brian Robinson and Gibson are going to be that 1-2 punch that used to be Gibby and JD, but unfortunately JD looks like the odd man out.
Yeah, it stinks for McKissick owners that have seen him in the past. I think it was 2 years ago. He was a top 24 running back, and he was involved relatively more, like way more than he was right now. So
yeah,
but McKissick, yeah, drop him if you have to. You can definitely find comparable talent on waivers right now. So
yeah, that volume just isn't going to be there the rest of the season.
Yeah, Jeff Wilson, 5.4 points. Niners just got Christian McCaffrey, though. Eli Mitchell coming back soon. Hold or fold with Jeff?
Big fold.
Yeah.
His time is done.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have McCaffrey or Eli Mitchell and you're just trying to hold like that just secondary handcuff, maybe, right. But like I'm most likely folding as well. If you need to drop them, feel free to drop them.
Mm-hmm.
More interesting one here. Melvin Gordon, 7 points. His snaps went back up to 51%. He got out of the doghouse. No idea what happened last week. But he only averaged 3 yards per carry in this game, 33 yards. He's been struggled relatively without Javonte Williams. So hold or fold?
You got to hold, especially with the news that Mike Boone looks like he's going to be missing time. So it's just going to be Melvin Gordon and Latavius Murray. And we've seen Melv eat into Javonte's production. So if he can get things going, I could see him being back at that workhorse running back for the Broncos.
Yeah, I completely agree. Hold on to Mel for now. It's not pretty. I probably wouldn't start him, but hold him for sure. All right, let's get back to calmer chaos. Moving on to some wide receivers. Some more bad games this week. Michael Gallup, 0 points, 0 catches on 2 targets. Calm or chaos?
First game back with Dak. I guess I got to stay calm. It's not pretty, but
yeah,
I'm staying calm on Gallup. I like his upside. I think he could be a nice flex in the future.
Yeah, I think you have to just hold him on your roster, but I'm not putting him anywhere near my starting lineup unless I'm forced to by bye weeks. So
yeah,
Gallup, I guess you could stay calm, but it's not going to be you weren't expecting that much anyways. So Romeo Dobbs, 0 points, also 0 catches on 4 targets. Calm or chaos?
Chaos. I'm going chaos on Dobbs. Sorry, buddy.
Dude, it's like chaos on the entire Packers franchise right now.
It really is. They are a dumpster fire.
Yeah, I just don't know what to do with them. What do you do with any Packers right now? Aaron Rodgers is mid. You're starting him just because the quarterback market stinks. Aaron Jones has been all right, but he hasn't lived up to the expectations that you were looking for. A.J. Dillon was supposed to be good this year. He's been brutal. Wide receivers have been inconsistent. I think Aaron Jones is really the only one that's worth anything right now. Maybe
Tunyon as a streaming option at tight end, but other than that, I'm avoiding this offense at all costs.
Yeah, maybe Lazard as well. He's actually been probably the most consistent piece on this offense.
Forgot about Lazard.
Yeah, I did too. But yeah, Dobbs, I'm not. It's chaos for me as well. The target share was there the last few weeks, and it was still inconsistent. But then only 4 targets in this game also. You hold him on your bench, but I'm not starting Dobbs anymore at this point.
Nope.
Can't trust him. Drake London, 1.9 points. I think he's been on calm or chaos 4 straight weeks now.
Yep.
1 catch on 1 target for 9 yards. Calm or chaos?
It's got to be chaos. You can't have 4 straight weeks with 7 or less points. 1 target is abysmal. That's very scary. We know Mariota likes to run it, so it's got to be chaos on Drake. As much as I like him, he showed flashes early on in the season, but the volume it's king, and when it's not there, it's chaos.
Yeah, it's absolute chaos. Justin Fields, we've seen kind of increase his pass attempts. Mariota's been the opposite. I think 4 of the last 5 weeks, he's thrown 20 or fewer passes. And the last 2 weeks, he's only thrown 14 and then 13. He's barely throwing the ball. He's running about 5 to 7 times a game. And then they're running the ball a ton with their running backs. So there's no volume to be had in this offense. It's Drake London, Kyle Pitts, whoever. It's rough right now. Drake London, I'm holding for the talent. I'm hoping that if the Falcons continue to struggle, continue to be up and down, that maybe they move on to Desmond Ridder, more of a pocket passer. That would be, I think, a benefit for London and Pitts. But for now, you're holding, but you're not starting. You just can't start Drake London right now.
Agreed. 100%.
Rondale Moore, on the other hand, 4.1 points, 1 catch on 2 targets for 31 yards. Calm or chaos?
Chaos. D-Hop back. That's his team, man. He's going to eat up the target share. Although, I don't know. I feel like D-Hop did get fed a ton in this game. Rondale's definitely going to have his opportunities, though, with Hollywood on IR. So, I guess calm for now. If it's another week of a dud, I'm going chaos.
Yeah, I think 1 week, I'm still staying calm. I still would consider starting Rondale Moore again. This is the fewest pass attempts Kyler's thrown all season. His defense had 2 pick sixes, so he really didn't have to do much. And then half of his targets went to D-Hop in his first game back.
Yep.
Rondale Moore, before this week, had 23 targets in the last 3 weeks, and then only had 2 this week. So I'm staying calm. I'm hoping that target share the last few games kind of comes back, maybe somewhere between 5 to 7, maybe 8. That'd be what I'd be looking for in Rondale Moore as a flex. But
definitely.
Another bad game or two. it's going to be chaos for sure. Someone I didn't think would be on calm or chaos earlier this season, but Cortland Sutton, here we are, 5.3 points, 3 catches on 9 targets for 23 yards. Ripping at quarterback with Russell Wilson out. Calm or chaos here?
The 9 targets is the one bright spot, but I don't know how much you could trust Sutton or Judy with Rippin at quarterback, because as bad as Russ was playing, I don't see Rippin being much of an upgrade from Russ.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, it's not going to help. Like, Russ wasn't great, but I still think I'd rather have him over Rippin at quarterback. And even with 9 targets, he did absolutely nothing with it. Last week, he struggled as well. I think he's like a decent flex option right now compared to the strong wide receiver 2, even maybe low end wide receiver 1 he was the first few weeks.
Yep.
Tough luck here for Sutton owners. Let's move on to a couple tight ends before we get into some trust or bust, starting with Mark Andrews, of all people. 0.4 points, 0 catches on 2 targets, and he actually got a carry for 4 yards.
That bailed him out.
Yeah.
Could have had a donut.
Big old bagel.
Staying calm on Mark Andrews. Come on.
Yeah.
It's like his first or second bad game this season. Offense runs through him. This was a weird game where Gus Edwards was just stealing every touchdown known to man. But Andrews is going to get his.
Yeah. Andrews, you're calmer than ever. He'll be fine. If you could somehow buy low on Mark Andrews after this bad game, go for it.
Please.
Just go for it. Kyle Pitts, welcome back to calm or chaos. You snuck by with a fluky touchdown last week. 3.9 points. We just talked about his teammate Drake London. He did have the highest snaps he's had since week 2 with 79% of the snaps. But still, 3 catches on 5 targets for 9 yards. It's still
chaos.
Yeah. Like,
sorry, Pitts.
I don't even know if we have to say anything else. Kyle Pitts, chaos. Don't start
I feel like we explain ourselves about Pitts every week.
Yeah. Don't start him. All right. Before we get into trust or bust, let's do today's sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest way to play fantasy football. You can get started now with, I think they're doing their Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football melee this week. If not, they definitely have some sort of Monday Night Football contest going on. $50,000 in prizes. They always have contests for baseball, hockey, basketball, whatever you're looking for. Sports are going crazy right now. This is the hottest time throughout the year for all 4 sports to be going consistently. So make sure you get Underdog Fantasy and check it out. And when you sign up, use our promo code SUPERFB for a 100% deposit match up to $100. So if you deposit $100, you can get another $100 matched free. And again, our promo code is SUPERFB, SUPERFB. And you can play on the Underdog Fantasy app for iOS and Android, or sign up online at underdogfantasy.com. Check it out. All right, let's do trust or bust. Let's get a little bit more positive. Let's talk about some guys that snapped this week, starting with Danny Dimes.
Danny Dimes.
Earned his name this week, 30.78 points, 19 of 30 passing for 202 yards and threw 1 touchdown, but also added 11 carries for 107 yards and another touchdown with those legs.
Danny
Trust
Wheels.
or bust?
I think he's like QB 14 right now, maybe QB 12.
Actually up to number 10.
QB 10. That rushing upside for a quarterback is so huge. I mean, Danny Dimes has been winning the Giants games. They're 6-1. I'm actually heavily considering starting him again this next week coming up. So yeah. I would say I got to trust him.
Yeah. I mean, he's limited the turnovers this year. I think he's only thrown 2 picks and has fumbled twice. So it's not been as crazy as it's been in years past. The rushing floor gives him like a solid floor. He's had at least like 20 to 30 yards rushing pretty much every single game aside from one. And he had that 1-2 rushing touchdown game also. So Daniel Jones has been relatively consistent. The upside isn't the craziest aside from this week where he finally exploded. I don't know if I'm fully trusting, but I think he's worth adding as a backup quarterback for sure.
Definitely.
Especially with the way quarterback is this year. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They're hurt.
They're hurting for sure. Let's move on to some running backs, starting with Eno Benjamin. 23.3 points last Thursday, 12 carries for 92 yards and found the end zone, and then added 4 catches on 5 targets for 21 yards on top of that. Trust or bust for Eno, even if James Conner comes back.
It was a great game for Eno, but I got to go bust because there's a chance that both James Conner and Darrell Williams come back. So if that happens, I just don't see, getting that type of workload again. We know James Conner's a starter. I think Eno will be in competition now with Darrell for those backup touches, but nothing like we saw this past week.
Yeah, I'm in the same exact boat. I don't think he's going to continue to eat into their workload when Conner and Williams are healthy. I think he'll be a part of it, but I don't think he's going to be consistent enough. I do think you're definitely owning him, or if he's somehow out there and you're free agent still, definitely pick him up, throw him on the bench for now. But yeah, I think this is the peak of Eno right here. That's for sure. Next we got Raheem Mostert. Raheem must start, 20.9 points, 16 carries for 79 yards, and then 4 catches on 5 targets for 30 yards and a touchdown. Trust or bust for Mostert?
It's so hard for me to trust Mostert, but that's his 5th game with 10-plus points. When he gets the workload, he does come up productive with what he gets. Do I want to trust Raheem Mostert, though?
I'm trusting him while he's healthy and playing as the starter. If I have Raheem Mostert right now, after this game, I'm most likely starting him depending on my options. You might have found him on waivers and you might be stacked with your running back core. So you don't have to start him, but I still think he's going to be a top 20 play this week again for me at this point. So
yeah,
I'm trusting for now. But
sold me.
Who's this competition? Are you scared of Chase Edmonds really taking the backfield over again?
Nope.
I think it's Mostert season.
Lindsay?
No, he's on the Colts.
Right? Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think he is.
Yeah. So
but
definitely trusting Mostert at this point. I think they also have Savon Ahmed. It's pretty much the Mostert show right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, lock in Mostert. I'm trusting. Decent RB2 option. Someone I might be trusting more, Travis Etienne, 18.9 points, 14 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. 1 catch on 5 targets for 5 yards. He did lose a fumble, though, but he did also play 80% of the snaps, by far the highest of the season. Trust or bust?
Big trust.
You have to. Talked about James Robinson already, so.
Yeah, we did. Looks like this is Etienne's backfield. And he did get to 5 targets. Would have liked to see him do a little bit more with those, but the fact that they're there, that only helps his floor.
Yeah, he's got a relatively consistent target share throughout the season, even with his fluctuating snap share. But it seems like this is his backfield at this point. And I think each of the last 3 weeks, he's averaged at least 7 yards per carry. Seems like he's breaking a long run pretty much every single game. And he's been consistently gashing defenses. So ETN, lock him in, trust him for sure.
Yes, sir.
Gus Edwards coming back from IR, 18.6 points, 16 carries, 66 yards, found the end zone twice, did get a target, but did not catch it. Trust or bust?
Big trust. Kenyon Drake was the superstar of that team last week. I was confident starting him. Let me down with 0.5 points. How do you rush the ball 11 times and get 5 yards? Blows my mind. But the return of Gus Bus looks like he is going to be the lead back while JK is out, which could honestly be the remainder of the fantasy season. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's been an unfortunate start to J.K. Dobbins' career. Coming out of college, he was one of the most hyped running backs entering the league, and it's just been tough for him to stay on the field. Hopefully he can get it together, get fully healthy, come back and play well, but he's on IR right now. Doesn't seem like he's coming back for at least another month. So it's Gus Edwards season. I'm trusting. Last for the running backs, let's talk about the Carolina Panthers. Christian McCaffrey now gone. Are we trusting both running backs? One running back, we got Donta Foreman, had 16.5 points himself, 118 yards rushing, also caught 2 passes for 27 yards. Chuba Hubbard also played 9 carries, a little bit less, but did have 63 yards as well and got the touchdown, 2 catches for 10 yards. Pretty much 50-50 split in terms of snaps. Who are we trusting here?
I'm leaning towards Dante Foreman only because he did out-touch him. He led in snaps. The 118 yards is very promising, only on 15 carries especially. They each got 2 catches, but yeah, I'm definitely leaning Foreman over Chuba. We've seen what Chuba was when McCaffrey was out last year, and it wasn't anything really spectacular. And we also saw Dante Foreman when Derrick Henry was out, and there were some weeks he looked elite.
Yeah, I am in the same boat. You got to go Foreman right now. I think both are worth adding if they're still out there in your free agency somehow after the news broke. But I think both are still worth owning. Hubbard is a little banged up, but I'm still leaning towards Foreman to be the better back of the two. Hubbard still might get enough volume, but this was the first time we saw the Panthers actually look good pretty much all season. So not fully trusting it yet, but Foreman's going to be the one I think I would trust the most.
Yep. All it took was P.J. Walker.
Yeah. First P.J. Walker game was not as pretty, but they actually let him throw the ball more than 1 yard this game. So look what happens. You beat the Buccaneers.
Yep.
All right, let's go to some wide receivers, starting with Tyler Boyd, 31.5 points, 8 catches on 9 targets, 155 yards, and a touchdown. This man is actually wide receiver 17 on the season, but he does have 3 games below 8 points. Trust or bust here for Boyd.
Tyler needs to change his last name to Lockett because this is who he's reminding me of big time. It's so hard to trust that. Like, the boom booms. When it's a bust, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah.
So I wish we could just see it on a more consistent basis. I would easily trust him. He's wide receiver 3 on one of the best offenses in the league, though. So, I mean, I feel like there's still going to be some games where Jamar and T. Higgins, even Hayden Hurst, just eat up the target share. But I wouldn't hate it if you start him just for that upside factor.
Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat. Like, Boyd has that upside to be a flex option. We saw him down the stretch last season as well, be actually relatively consistent. And if one of these guys goes down, his role is obviously going to increase tremendously. But at the end of the day, even with everyone healthy, Tyler Boyd is still a decent flex option. Like I said, wide receiver 17 on the season. This man is top 20. Obviously, this game helps it as well as some bye weeks. But either way, Tyler Boyd, I think I'm trusting him as a risky flex option. Like, there's a lot of risky flex options out there. He kind of slots himself in there as one of the better ones for me. Mm-hmm. That offense is too high powered.
Yep.
Chiefs wide receivers. We had 2 actually go off this week, starting with Juju, 25.4 points, 7 catches on 8 targets, 124 yards, and found the end zone again. Back-to-back big games for him. And Mecole Hardman, 28 points, caught all 4 of his targets, 32 yards, and a touchdown, relatively modest, but also got 2 carries for 28 yards and scored on both of them. Trust or bust for both, trust or bust for one. What's the deal with the Chiefs?
I think I'm trusting both. Not going to lie to you. I think this is Mecole's 3rd straight game with a touchdown, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or at least good game in fantasy. Juju, back-to-back weeks, finally looks like he's finding his rhythm in the Chiefs' offense. And just like we were saying about the Bengals, this is right up there with them as one of the most high-powered in the league. So I have no problem starting either or.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think I'm obviously leaning towards trusting Juju a bit more. He's been a bit more consistent throughout the season. He's only had a couple games where he struggled here and there. He has now 4 games over 10 points. I guess Hardman's kind of the same way, but his target share seems to be a bit safer compared to definitely. Hardman. Hardman's kind of the big play. He'll score, and he'll get you those fantasy points that way. So Juju a bit safer, but I do think Hardman is also a relatively decent flex, and even Marquez Valdez-Scantling had a decent game also. So Chiefs offense, when it's looking like this, anybody can score.
And they love to throw.
They love to throw the ball. So I think all of them are relatively decent flex options, Juju being the highest for me of the wide receivers. Next on the list, this man just won't let me live my life in peace. Paris Campbell, 23 points, 10 catches on 12 targets for 70 yards and a touchdown. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think I might have to trust Paris Campbell right now.
I think so too. That's back-to-back weeks. His snap share's gone up back-to-back weeks with double-digit targets. It looks like, with the QB change, kind of
that
scares
hurts it a
me.
little bit, yeah.
But, I mean, I like Ellinger. I've always mentioned him. You guys laughed at me every time. But I think that, honestly, the way Matt Ryan was playing, it could end up being a big upgrade. So I'm trusting Paris. I like it.
Yeah.
As long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, that's the biggest key with Paris Campbell. As soon as he starts to at least get some momentum, he gets banged up. So I think I'm trusting for the upside and the talent that I've believed in the past, but I'll talk more about him later. Marquise Goodwin, 22.7 points. This man came back from the dead after DK got injured. 4 catches, 5 targets, 67 yards, and scored twice. Trust or bust?
I want to see it again.
Yeah.
DK
There's no
being
way I'm
out,
trusting him after one game.
Yeah, his targets are going to see an increase, but it's Marquise Goodwin. I'm not jumping on the hype train for him off of one game.
No shot. I think, if anything, Lockett gets a boost from this. But still going to be tough for him as well. With all of the attention DK was drawing, now going to go on Lockett. It's going to be tougher for him. So Goodwin might be all right, maybe worth an ad, but I'm not jumping to go do that right away. Yeah. I'm not fully there yet.
No way.
It's Ken Walker season in Seattle.
Yes, it is.
DJ Moore back with 19.6 points, 7 catches on 10 targets, 69 yards, and this man finally found the end zone. Trust or bust for DJ Moore?
You're not getting me, DJ. The same thing. I want to see it again.
Yeah. I mean, the target share has actually been really solid the last 4 weeks, 11, 8, 7, and 10. He has 10 points in 3 of the last 4 games. So it's been there better, but it's still not where you want DJ Moore to be. This week was a good sign, but you're hoping that maybe he's more going to be like the most consistent part of this offense moving forward with McCaffrey out of town as well. So we shall see, but I'm leaning towards trusting again, but I think that's just my bias showing.
It's going to bite you in the ass.
You know damn well I'm starting him this week, that's for sure. I actually started him this last week somehow. So
wow.
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
Yeah. I didn't really have much of an option. It was between him and like Wan'Dale Robinson. So, but it worked out either way. All right. Last wide receiver here for Trust or Bust. George Pickens, 18.1 points, caught all 6 of his targets, 61 yards, and found the end zone. Trust or bust?
I think it's time to trust George Pickens. He seems to have a rapport with Kenny Pickett. He has like 14 plus points in 3 of the last 4 games. The target share has been consistent, seeing at least 6 targets in all 4 of those games. And honestly, he is outproducing Deontay, surprisingly. And Pickens just seems to be him right now.
Yeah, Deontay is so confusing that he's only wide receiver 31, and he has 10 plus targets in 5 of 7 games. Like,
makes no sense.
Makes 0 sense. There's like been no touchdowns, not much upside. He's been relatively consistent, but this whole Steelers wide receiver core slots in. Deontay's wide receiver 31, Claypool wide receiver 41, and Pickens just bumped himself up to wide receiver 43 with this performance. But I do think right now, like, Pickens seems to be the favorite for me to start trusting. He's had 6 plus targets in the last 5 games. He's been fully involved. And in 3 of the last 4 games, he's had at least 14 points, which I think is more than Deontay's had in any game. Yep. Maybe one more higher than that. No, he does. He has 1 game. But either way, Pickens has looked good. I think I'm trusting him the most right now.
Yes, sir.
But this, like I said, the Steelers wide receiver core, this is going to flow with the wind. Claypool could have 3 touchdowns next week, and we'd all be like, oh, my God. So you never know. Let's move on to some tight ends. Juwan Johnson, 20.2 points, caught all 5 of his targets, 32 yards, and scored twice on Thursday Night Football. Trust or bust?
I am not trusting Juwan Johnson. I'm sorry, bro, but
Yeah. No.
This was his first game with. Actually, his targets haven't been too bad, but there's a couple in the middle where it's like absolutely nothing. But I just can't trust Juwan Johnson.
Yeah, I think his relevance relies solely on the fact that if Adam Troutman is healthy or not.
Yeah, that's very true.
Juwan Johnson struggled a bit as a blocker. So when he does get the opportunity to play more snaps, that's when he kind of takes advantage of being a good receiver, because Taysom Hill and Troutman usually hog up a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been decent, but I think unless Troutman is out, which I think he was out this game and he got injured the last game, which gave Johnson that boost, that's the only way I would start him. And I think he's a streaming option at best.
Agreed.
Pat Fryermuth, 15.5 points, caught 8 of 9 targets for 75 yards. Trust or bust?
It's time to trust Big Muth. He's got 12 plus points in 5 of the 6 games he's played. I mean, his target share looks 9 is his second, tied for his second most all season. It looks like him and George Pickens are Kenny Pickett's go-to guys. So,
yep, tight ends and rookie quarterbacks typically are best friends.
Yep,
Fryermuth is a solid option. He's tight end 9 on the season, and he had missed a whole game already and played half of one. So, Fryermuth, I'm trusting him. I'm with it, especially with the way tight ends are. So, trust him. Greg Dulcich, 11.1 points, 6 catches on 9 targets for 51 yards. Trust or bust?
It's 2 weeks in a row, baby. I'm trusting Greg Dulcich.
Yeah, I think you have to. Especially with the way the Broncos are so weird, and this man just comes out of nowhere, and he's got back-to-back solid fantasy performances.
Yep.
At least worth an ad, if not, definitely a decent streaming option right now.
And that jump from 3 targets to 9 this week, the Broncos obviously see something that they like in Dulcich.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree with that too. Josh, welcome. I'm excited to be criticized for everything that we're going to say.
What is its dad in Min?
He's a dad from Minnesota, I'm pretty sure. I'm actually in a league with him with Geek Mill.
Oh, really?
It's been a good league thus far. Good question, though. What happened to Alberto?
Dead and gone.
Yeah, I think he's in the fantasy graveyard at this point.
Yep. R.I.P. Unga Bunga Wam.
Yeah. See you later, Alberto. Last tight end here for Trust or Bust is Dalton Schultz. Matt's guy, 9.9 points. Caught all 5 of his targets for 49 yards. With Dak back, it seems like he's back.
Yep. I told you just once he needed Dak back. I don't know what Cooper Rush was doing, but it seems like he hated Dalton Schultz. Dalton Schultz is Dak's safety blanket. That's his man's. So it was nice to see him get back into the positive side of fantasy football, because it was a dismal couple weeks having him.
Yeah, it's nice we're having him with Dak back. I think in 2 games with Dak this year, 9 and 12 points, if I'm not mistaken. So Dalton Schultz has been solid when Dak's been there. We saw it all last season too. So lock him in. And Matt, your wire is making that noise again, bro.
So sorry.
It's all good.
How long has it been happening?
Just for the Dalton Schultz. So I was I started noticing it. I was like, I'm going crazy.
My fault.
All good. Let's do some waiver targets. That's it for Trust or Bust. I will start us off. I am going to tell you to add Paris Campbell right now, and I don't feel good about it. But this was someone I really believed in the talent for the last 3 seasons. I called him to break out multiple times. He ended up either getting injured, or when he was playing last year, he did not play well. But we're finally seeing it start to come together. He can either way. I think he's worth an ad. Still Pittman's team. Pittman's still going to be the number 1, but they do need someone to step up and be that consistent number 2. Pierce has also been involved, and he's been relatively solid, but 17 catches on 23 targets in 2 weeks is nuts. You have to add that player, no matter what their name is or who they are, what team they're on, what the situation is. You have to pick that person up, just throw them on your bench. So I think Paris Campbell's worth the ad. maybe not starting him right away. Maybe I'm still weary of fully trusting this man, but pick him up. Just put him on your bench. I think it's worth it.
I was forced to start him in Dynasty, and honestly, I was not upset about it.
Yeah, not upset about it either. All right, who is your waiver target this week?
Probably going to be the hottest commodity coming off the waiver wire this week. That is Gus Edwards. Looks to be the clear RB1 option with JK out for the foreseeable future. He got we were just talking about how he out-touched Kenyon Drake. Kenyon Drake was not productive at all with what he did, so I think this is Gus Edwards' job to lose. It was nice to see him find the end zone twice. And JK on IR. This is going to be Gus's backfield on one of the most run-heavy teams. Go out and get him.
Yeah, even with only 36% of the snaps, he did a lot of work. I still think he's going to gradually increase what we started to see with JK before he ended up getting banged up again. So I think it's Gus's job to lose at this point. I agree with that.
Sir.
Scoop him up. He is available in 62% of sleeper leagues. So juicy. Get him.
Juice.
All right. Let's do our buy low and sell high. Matt, who you buying low on? Who are you selling high on?
Buying low as I can get DeAndre Swift right now. Managers are probably very frustrated with him. He's been injured the past couple of weeks, probably making him lose games, falling out of playoff contention. So a lot of teams that own him might be in win now. And if you're sitting pretty at 5-2 or 6-1, and you can afford to give up a decent piece to get him with the chance that he may miss another week or two, come back for the fantasy playoffs, it would be perfect. Because I think when he returns, he's going to fall right back into the top 10, maybe top 8 fantasy running backs.
Yeah, I completely agree.
And we've been seeing Jamal struggle, so I'm sure they can't wait to get him back.
Yeah, I'm buying low on every share of DeAndre Swift I can get.
Yeah.
And Q in the chat with his nickname for Paris Campbell, a.k.a. the Awful Tower.
That's the worst nickname.
Yeah. I don't know about that one, Q, but we'll take it. Go ahead, Matt, and then we'll answer Josh's question for your sell high.
Sell high, Benjamin. Like we mentioned earlier, once James Conner and Darrell Williams are back in the lineup healthy, the volume for him is just going to diminish. So maybe if just based off last week's performance, if you can get a decent like plug and play flex or anything, I would even do that because I don't see having much value once his backfield mates are back there with him.
Yeah, completely agree. He's a good sell high option right now, especially if the James Conner owner is panicking or worried. Benjamin's a good piece to try to sell to him. Here's your insurance. Josh asks, sell JT, assuming Jonathan Taylor. Maybe.
I would. I think with the quarterback change, they're going to run the hell out of Jonathan Taylor.
The line just hasn't been consistent, but
that's true. But
he is JT. I do think he is going to be just fine. So I think I'm holding, especially with the 8 targets he saw. But I really want to see what happens with Ellinger too. So if you do want to take that risk and sell high, you got to obviously be trying to get another top 5, top 10 piece in return for sure. But JT is a tough one to really give up on.
Yeah. You trade him next week, he goes off for 30. You're sitting there like an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. Completely agree there. Let's do my buy low and sell high, starting with my buy low, Lamar Jackson. The owner of Lamar Jackson has to be frustrated in your league and may be willing to start considering offers for him. First 3 weeks, you are not getting Lamar Jackson from that person. At this point, 4 straight weeks, 18 or fewer points. It might be time to try and go get him. He showed what he's capable of the first 3 weeks, and I think he's going to get back on track sooner rather than later. I think the Ravens as a whole have to get back on track. I think they're one of the most unhealthy teams in football. But Gus Edwards is coming back. Bateman was able to get back on the field for this one. Mark Andrews is still healthy. Lamar is going to be fine. So go get him if you can, and I would not look back. For my sell high, it's Raheem Mostert. Unless you're desperate for a healthy running back on your roster and like you found him on waivers and he's really saving you, I would try to move on from him because a lot of people might have added him to an already deep running back core. The talent is there for Mostert, and he's looked relatively good, but my fear is his injury history. He's missed large portions of pretty much every season he's played in, especially when he starts to get more of the work for a team, and he is not getting any younger. He is 30 years old. If you can find a more reliable piece, more reliable running back, go for it. If you have to throw 2 players in for a trade, like Matt was saying, buy low on DeAndre Swift. If you can give up Mostert, throw somebody else in, like a flex wide receiver, and that person, you rob that person blind, I would do it.
Make out like a bandit.
Yeah, exactly. Completely rob them.
So, Sean, you should swing Swifty.
Nah, not going to do that. If we have any more questions in the chat, feel free to drop them. But without trivia from Q this week, that's pretty much a wrap. Unfortunately, no trivia. So we will be back on Wednesday with our Week 8 preview. Just make sure you use our promo code SUPERFB if you are considering using Underdog Fantasy. Get that 100% deposit bonus. If you're looking to get a jersey from your favorite player or team, we also have a partnership with Fanatics. Check them out at the link in our bio on all platforms. And it's up to 65% off right now. Go use that link. Helps us out a ton. And if you did not know, we are part of the Olde City Sports Network now. We have a ton of sponsors with them in the Delaware County area in Pennsylvania, breweries, beef jerky, and more. You can check all those out at oldcitysports.com. That link is also in our bio. We did get a couple questions here.
Yes, we did.
Are we buying Michael Carter? Bye.
Yes, I am. He looked good the first couple of weeks when Brees was finding his rhythm. I think he could easily return to that fantasy RB2 role now that it is just his backfield again, unfortunately.
Yeah, I completely agree. His value, though, might be like at an all-time high.
Yeah, so
maybe not overpay for Michael Carter, but like if someone's willing to sell him at a reasonable price, I would definitely take that offer. Like we saw Brees Hall going crazy this year. The Jets have looked better as a whole. Michael Carter should fill in that role at least 80% of what Brees Hall was doing. So I like that. And another question here, Gus Edwards or Michael Carter. If this is like a starter, like week by week, like if I'm picking one, or I don't know if this is like a trade or something, but I think I'd go Carter here.
I
don't know. It's tough. This is a really close one.
I just like Gus because the Ravens run the hell out of the football, and Gus did look good in his debut, but we've also seen Michael Carter look good earlier in the season, like I was just saying. So, I mean, I think you're really splitting hairs trying to decide between those two.
Yeah.
I'm leaning Gus Edwards, though.
Yeah. I think I'm leaning. I might be leaning the other way only because JK could be back in 4 to 6 weeks. And then by the time fantasy playoffs roll around, your RB might be in a committee, whereas Michael Carter, it should be his team the rest of the way.
Good point.
I think for the next 4 weeks or so, probably, it's honestly going to be hit or miss. I like both of them. I think both of them are going to be talented RB2s. So hit us up on Wednesday if you're thinking about starting one of them. We'll have our rankings and everything ready to go. And Josh, yes, do not trade JT straight up for Michael Carter. I think I'd rather have Jonathan Taylor.
100%.
All right. I think that is a wrap at this point. If you are here live with us, definitely just hit that follow button, Twitch. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. If you want to listen to the audio version, Spotify, Apple, and more. All social media, Super Fantasy Bros Podcast. Just Google us. You'll find us, Twitter, Instagram, and more. You can always hit us up for any questions or anything. See you guys on. Wait, one more question before we get out.
One more.
He snuck it in there. Boone is out for Denver. Does this add to Gordon's value? Or are we worried about the Mac? I don't think I'm worried about the Mac.
Not worried about the return of the Mac.
Yeah, I think his value is up, like capped just because obviously Russell Wilson is banged up. This team has been struggling on offense in general. So I don't think Melvin Gordon's ceiling is too high, and Latavius Murray's been involved. So that hurts. But either way, I think I'm leaning towards like Melv just being at best a flex, maybe low end wide receiver too. I mean running back too.
Yeah.
Obviously not out there catching all those passes. And another question snuck in. I like this one. ETN or Ken Walker.
I'm going Ken Walker, baby.
I think I am too.
That's James a grown man running that football out there.
Yeah. I think if James Robinson does get back to a little bit better, if the Jaguars win a couple games, Robinson's going to be used a bit more to carry that workload. So
I like ETN due to the receiving upside, but like you said, James Robinson's still there that could cut into production, and that is Kenneth Walker's backfield. Nobody is taking any touches away from him.
Yeah, completely agree. I'm going Ken Walker. It's Ken Walker season. They're going to rely on him heavily the next few weeks, and he's been explosive in the last couple.
Especially with DK now out.
Yeah.
All signs are pointing towards the Ken Walker takeover.
Yep. Peace out, Josh. Pats feast tonight. Bears are hibernating.
That's funny. Let's go, Pats. Ramondre, baby.
Yeah, should be a good game. Hopefully, if the Bears can keep it competitive, but we shall see. All right, that's a wrap. We will catch you guys on Wednesday. Peace.